Every company, I mean, regardless of its size or what industry it's in, needs some way to manage its customer relationships.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental business truth.
Absolutely, non-negotiable.
But the very definition of management it's changed so dramatically over the last decade. We're shifting away from just, recording a past transaction.
Right, the old ledger-based thinking.
Exactly. Now it's about actively orchestrating a dynamic, a personalized customer experience. And that requires a level of intelligence and really foresight that just wasn't there before.
It really does. The old model was so company-centric, it was built on these internal silos that were, let's be honest, designed for internal reporting structures.
The manager.
For the managers, yes. But the modern business mandate, the one that's actually driving success today, it demands a total shift to a true customer-centric view.
Meaning what exactly?
It means the business process flow has to follow the customer's journey, not the organization chart. And that kind of strategic transformation, well, it requires a lot more power than a traditional customer relationship management or CRM can deliver on its own.
Okay, let's unpack that because that feels like a really critical distinction. Our deep dive mission today is to understand precisely why those established CRM solutions, which, everyone relies on for their day-to-day.
They're the workhorse.
They are the workhorse.
Yeah.
So why do they now have to be augmented by this newer, much more powerful engine, the Customer Data Platform, or CDP? We're going to detail the architecture, explore the drivers behind this shift, and really map out the significant measurable outcomes you get when these two platforms achieve true synergy.
And we're looking at a very detailed white paper today. It focuses explicitly on the business strategy and the architectural blueprint required to integrate these two things effectively. And this is not a simple IT project. It isn't about just plugging two systems together. It's about fundamentally redesigning your entire enterprise technology landscape around the customer's needs and their current context.
So, to set the stage, let's nail down the definitions, starting with the familiar one. When we say CRM, what are we really talking about? We're talking about the established system, the application stack that's designed to manage interactions, track business processes, house data across your sales, your service, and your marketing functions. It's what helps you, schedule a call or log a service ticket.
And then you have the CDP. And its objective is actually quite simple, but as you said, it's transformative. Its job is to ingest, to unify, and to contextualize data from all enterprise sources.
Not just the CRM silo.
Not just the CRM silo. And the whole point is to convert these raw, massive streams of customer data into truly actionable, predictive insights. The entire reason a CDP exists is to drive strategic outcomes. Significantly growing sales revenue, boosting your marketing ROI, and radically increasing customer lifetime value, or CLV.
So it takes the data that the CRM needs to function, and it makes that data intelligent.
And proactive, that's the key.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Before we jump into the solution, the CDP, we have to understand the journey. Where did CRM even come from, and why, after decades of evolution, is that traditional definition just not enough anymore?
To really get CRM, you have to go back to its precursor. This goes way back to the sales and distribution modules, the SD modules, that lived inside those huge enterprise resource planning, or ERP, systems.
A big iron system?
The big iron, exactly. This was the original foundation of customer management. And the focus back then, in the 80s and early 90s, was entirely on operational efficiency.
So just making sure the customer got the right product at the right time, through the right channel, at the right price. It sounds like the whole promise was just reliability.
Precisely. The ERP-SD module integrated seamlessly with all those core back-office functions, manufacturing schedules, logistics, inventory, finance. That ERP connection is still the foundational engine for customer experience, even today.
How so?
Well, no matter how advanced or personalized the modern experience gets, that core operational promise of, you'll get what you ordered and the bill will be correct, that still needs a solid, integrated engine to power it.
But the world changed. Fundamentally, starting around the 90s and then just accelerating like crazy, we saw these massive macro trends hitting all at once that just completely shifted the power structure.
We did. Globalization and this acceleration in technology led to, explosive supply-side economics. Companies could suddenly produce more, cheaper, and faster than ever before, and this abundance of choice. It fundamentally shifted the power dynamic away from the supplier and entirely to the consumer.
And crucially, that's right when cloud technology exploded. The rise of software as a service, SaaS, That was an organizational game changer.
Oh, it absolutely was. I mean, SaaS let sales organizations and marketing teams completely bypass those lengthy, rigid internal IT procurement cycles.
They just swipe a credit card.
Almost, yeah. Suddenly, they could rapidly adopt these easy-to-access cloud applications to help them with their day-to-day jobs. They didn't have to wait for the next multi-year ERP upgrade cycle, and that acceleration enabled them to better serve this newly empowered customer.
And that tech shift happened right alongside the demand shift. We entered the era of the customer is king. Consumers had more choices. They demanded personalized, immediate, consistent experiences across every single channel.
And that demand is what fueled the massive expansion of CRM functions. It went way beyond simple sales tracking.
Right. CRM stopped being just about the sales funnel and started to stretch across the entire customer journey. But, this is the critical point, it grew as a collection of specialized, siloed applications.
That's it. That's the origin of the problem we have today.
Okay, let's detail that silo expansion because I think it really explains the data fragmentation problem that everyone is dealing with now.
For sure. We saw three major distinct expansions. First, marketing just ballooned. Companies needed targeted offers, sophisticated digital automation for their campaigns, complex lead generation. All of this was hugely influenced by the boom in social media and smartphones.
Which created a whole new category of software.
A whole new category, marketing automation platforms designed specifically for digital execution, but critically, often completely separate from the core sales system.
Okay, that's silo number one. What's number two?
Second, service and retention became strategically paramount. There was clear empirical evidence that it's just easier and way more profitable to upsell and cross-sell to your existing loyal customers than it is to go out and acquire new ones.
So that drove the need for a whole other set of specialized service software.
It did. Complex tools like call center applications, service ticket and case management systems, field service management for technicians, all designed to optimize internal service flows. Again, another silo.
And the third?
Third, commerce evolved beyond recognition. Websites went from being simple brand promotion billboards to full B2C and B2B e-commerce portals, places where customers and partners could execute complex orders, handle returns, manage their own accounts.
Which required dedicated platforms just for that.
Exactly. Platforms focused entirely on product catalogs, complex pricing, and fulfillment logic. So now you have at least three massive specialized silos.
So what we have today is this immensely powerful but highly fractured landscape. Your traditional CRM solutions are managing sales activities, pipelines, service tickets, marketing campaigns, all this massive amount of data, but they do it all within their own native specialized silo.
That is the core issue. Despite all that evolution, and even with the more recent integration of machine learning and AI within those individual stacks, traditional CRM was fundamentally not built for today's dynamic cross-system real-time information flow. The structure is inherently siloed.
And that structural problem creates three critical pain points that prevent really any organization from delivering a seamless modern customer experience.
The first, and it's often the most overlooked struggle, is the lack of end-user value add. It's the what's in it for me problem for the person on the front line.
Now wait, I have to challenge that a little. CRM systems are amazing tracking tools. Sales managers can see their pipelines, service managers can track resolution times. Doesn't that add value?
It adds value for management reporting and visibility, absolutely. It answers the question, how's the team performing? Or how many cases did we close?
Yeah.
But it often fails to provide real-time, cross-context intelligence to the person who is actually dealing with the customer in that moment. It forces the user to constantly leave the system, to go check inventory or check the billing history in the ERP, or look in the marketing automation system to see if that customer just got a targeted offer.
So it's a tracking tool, not a proactive enabling tool.
Precisely. It doesn't inherently help the salesperson sell more by giving them instant unified context that, for example, tells them this customer's financial status is poor, or they just filed a huge service complaint 2 days ago. It doesn't transform a passive service agent into a proactive service advisor who can truly resolve complex problems because they can't see the whole picture across logistics, inventory, and pending sales orders all at once.
Which leads us right to the second major struggle. The lack of intelligent automation across applications. This is where the data landscape becomes a total tangled mess for the IT department.
Customer data today is so fragmented, it lives everywhere. You've got financials and billing in your ERP, inventory and logistics data and supply chain platforms, clickstream and preference data and digital marketing tools, unstructured sentiment from emails and social media. It's a mess.
And the standard solution is either manual data entry, which is a disaster,
A disaster waiting to happen, yes.
or the IT department has to build these complex, costly custom integrations to stitch everything together.
And that's the custom many-to-many integration nightmare. In big companies, this creates this giant, complex, griddle web of point-to-point connections in the back end. And these custom webs are just tremendously challenging and expensive to maintain. Every time you change one application, 3 others break. And there's a significant, costly lack of cross-application intelligent automation because the data isn't unified in one place.
Hang on, isn't that what a traditional data warehouse or those existing extract, transform, load ETL tools are supposed to do? Why is a CDP a fundamentally better approach than just improving our integration layer?
That is a key question, a really insightful one. Traditional ETL and data warehouses, they were built for batch processing and reporting.
Overnight jobs.
Exactly. They were designed to move static, structured data overnight to create historical business intelligence dashboards. They're all about history. A CDP, on the other hand, is designed for real-time stream processing and activation. It's built to react to a customer's click within milliseconds, unify that one piece of data with their entire history, and then push a specific contextual action back into a frontline system like the CRM in real time.
So is the difference between a historical accounting ledger
Yeah.
and a living, constantly updating nervous system?
That's a perfect analogy.
That distinction is crucial. It's the real-time action component that changes everything. Which brings us directly to struggle number 3, the absence of a holistic and actionable customer 360.
Right. The view most organizations have is just a static dashboard, a snapshot, the account's name, their primary contact, maybe their last order. But what businesses need today is a living, breathing, dynamic, intelligent, actionable experience.
The view has to change based on what the customer is doing right now.
And it has to provide predictive guidance for what the frontline user should do next.
Can you use the source material to illustrate what kind of complex, high-stakes journeys are constantly breaking down because of these data silos?
Oh, absolutely. We can list 3 critical end-to-end processes that they often fail when that 360 view is static.
Okay.
First, you have the campaign to cash journey. This is moving from a totally unknown prospect to a paying customer. It touches everything: marketing, automation, quoting, ordering, logistics, finance. It fails when, for instance, marketing sends a highly personalized offer to a customer who, unbeknownst to them, has a big outstanding invoice that finance has flagged for collection.
Ouch. High friction. What's the second journey?
The service problem to resolution journey. This starts with a problem, say, a machine breakdown reported through a mobile app and moves through omni-channel service, case management, field service dispatch, asset management, warranty claims. It fails when the service agent can't see that the part needed for the repair has been delayed in the supply chain for 3 weeks. So they give a totally inaccurate time estimate and just shatter customer confidence.
And the third?
And third, the omni-channel commerce to delivery journey. This involves web content personalization, promotions, browsing behavior, order distribution, fulfillment. This fails when a customer browsing for a replacement part online is shown the full retail price, even though the CRM knows they are a Platinum loyalty member who should get a 20% discount. The commerce platform just isn't aware of it.
So you're sacrificing CLV instantly?
Instantly. None of these journeys can be managed optimally if the data required for them lives in 4 or 5 unconnected, unintelligent systems.
So
Okay.
we have this powerful CRM workhorse that's completely stuck because it's trying to operate in a siloed world.
Yeah.
And that leads to high friction, inconsistent customer experiences, and frankly, frustrated employees. The solution is the CDP. Let's reinforce that core objective again, shifting the entire enterprise technology landscape from that internal organization-centric view to a true customer experience or CX-centric one.
It's fundamentally about your architecture reflecting your strategy. If you say you're customer-centric, your technology has to be too. Placing the customer at the absolute heart of the business strategy and the enterprise architecture is the ultimate goal. The design has to reflect that the customer is the center of the universe, and all data has to flow in a way that serves their journey, regardless of which internal silo technically owns that data.
And the CDP is the platform that's been designed specifically to enable that shift.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just unifying data, what exactly does a modern CDP stack have to manage? You called it an organizational nervous system.
That's a good analogy. It's a comprehensive software platform designed for high complexity and high speed. It has to manage dynamic omnichannel progressive profiles, track every single micro behavior, analyze sentiment, drive personalization at massive scale, handle huge data ingestion and processing.
And that's before you even get to the intelligence part.
Right. It also has to house integrated machine learning and AI capabilities, ensure robust data governance, and critically, it has to have the ability to trigger real-time actions, recommendations, and upsell cross-sell suggestions based on that single actionable view of the customer.
That sounds like an extraordinarily tall order, functionally speaking.
Right.
Let's break down the required architecture based on the sources. Let's focus on the 5 key components that make a CDP actually function as that central intelligent nervous system.
Okay. We start with component A, the data model. At the very foundation, you need a cloud platform that supports designing a comprehensive data model that is specifically optimized for customer experience. This needs a resilient schema for creating what's called the golden profile.
A single source of truth for a person.
Exactly. And it must intrinsically incorporate privacy management and robust customer identification right from the beginning.
And this data isn't static, which is the big philosophical difference from a data warehouse. It's always changing.
It's always changing. The design has to accommodate continuous data flow. You should think of it not as a static lake, but as a river. Data is always flowing, changing, reacting, and engaging in real-time customer experiences every single moment. The model has to ingest every event from every customer-facing application, a click, a phone call, a login, a delivery update, and update that profile instantly.
This continuous flow brings us to a really key differentiation that the source paper stresses: the unified versus contextual profile. Can you elaborate on why you need both of these definitions of a customer profile for modern CX?
This is a point where the CDP truly separates itself from older tech. The unified profile is the master data-centric view. Think of it as the customer's permanent passport photo and their biographical data.
A bedrock.
It is the bedrock. Their legal identity, the unique ID, the merging of all that first, second, and third-party data from systems like your ERP, your CRM, social media. It establishes who the customer is permanently.
Okay, that's the static identity. Now for the dynamic part.
The contextual profile is the experience-centric view. This is like the live GPS data overlaid on the map. It understands the customer's unified data in the context of their present moment or their current phase of the customer journey.
Give me an example.
So the unified profile tells us this customer is a high-value platinum member. The contextual profile tells us that very same customer is currently complaining on the call center line while simultaneously browsing a high-margin product on your e-commerce site.
Wow. Okay, that situational awareness is the difference between making a huge sale and doing irreparable damage to the relationship. You avoid that massive friction point of sending a marketing email for a new product to a customer who is actively trying to resolve a serious issue.
Precisely. The contextual profile prevents that friction. It requires continuous enrichment and machine learning techniques for continuous learning about the customer's intent, their mood, and their current operational status.
That one example just immediately highlights the power of this. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about component B, insights and analytics. This goes way beyond standard business intelligence, right? We're talking about prediction.
It absolutely must. While traditional BI, reporting, dashboards, they're all critical, and a CDP can definitely power those. A CDP requires a strong, integrated data science platform. It has to leverage sophisticated machine learning algorithms and AI to derive meaning from truly massive amounts of big data, much of which is unstructured or semi-structured.
So you can move from just reporting what happened to predicting what will happen.
We're lagging indicators to leading indicators. Exactly.
And the sources detail 3 specific, increasingly sophisticated categories of customer scores and KPIs that the CDP has to calculate and manage. Let's unpack those layers.
Yes. The first category is pretty straightforward: transactional key figures. These are the basic measurements that systems have always tracked. Things like a customer's total historical order value, their total opportunity value in the pipeline, or the time they spent on your website. These are just facts about the past.
Okay, simple enough. What's the next level?
The second category is complex KPIs. These are aggregated, derived metrics. They require synthesizing various transactional and behavioral data points to create strategic measurements like customer lifetime value, CLV, Net Promoter Score, NPS, a customer satisfaction score, or their current sentiment score based on text analysis. Even their probability of customer churn.
So these are the metrics that managers use to run the business.
Right. They're the strategic lens.
And the third, the most advanced layer, is where the predictive power really lies.
The third category is predictive scores and next best action. Now we are really getting into probability and immediate prediction. Things like predicting the probability of a specific lead converting to an opportunity or the probability of an opportunity resulting in a win. It could be a simple binary prediction. Will this customer make a repeat purchase in the next 6 months? Yes or no?
And it's these precise, quantified scores that drive the automated action in the CRM, telling the salesperson what to do next. So these advanced scores then inform component C, audience segments. Now, segmentation is an old marketing concept, but the CDP fundamentally upgrades it. We're moving from basic demographics to dynamic behavioral prediction.
Segmentation is still vital, but now it's driven by those complex KPIs and predictive scores, not just women aged 30-45 in the Northeast.
Right.
The new segments are dynamic. They're things like high CLV customers who browsed product X in the last 48 hours and now have a 60% churn probability. And critically, these complex segments have to map directly to the customer journey and trigger specific actions based on real-time events.
Given the sheer volume and variety of data flowing in from inventory systems, IoT devices, financial ledgers, the sources highlight the importance of something called the data catalog here for the marketing team. Why is that so important?
The data catalog is essential for governance and marketing efficiency. It's not just some IT inventory of data assets. It's a critical tool that allows the functional marketing teams to easily access customer experience data in a comprehensible, self-service way. They don't need to call IT every time they want to build a segment. This ensures consistency, proper data governance, especially around consent, and the efficient application of segmentation across all your channels.
Okay, so we've built the golden profile, we've generated predictive scores, we've defined dynamic segments. Now we get to the payoff. Component D, personalized engagement, which is the action layer. This is where the CDP actively intervenes in the customer experience.
This is where the CDP investment becomes real. It's the interface with the customer experience applications. Engagement involved controlling those customer journey flows and embedding real-time actions that get triggered automatically across any customer experience. Application e-commerce, social media, the core CRM, the call center agent's desktop, mobile apps, you name it.
So the triggers aren't based on rigid, pre-programmed rules that were defined in a spreadsheet 6 months ago.
Exactly. Those old static rules are just too slow and inflexible. They're replaced by dynamic automation. These omni-channel triggers are driven by a combination of human-defined heuristics, your essential business logic, and powerful machine learning algorithms that are constantly optimizing the trigger and the content.
And the result is what?
The result is driving truly personalized predictive recommendations scaled across your entire customer base, millions of interactions at once throughout the whole customer lifecycle.
Finally, we have component E, identification and consent, which is the security layer.
Yeah.
This feels like the responsibility that comes with wielding the frankly intrusive power of CDP technology.
You are right to call it a critical responsibility. When a digital system knows a bit too much about a customer, it can immediately erode trust if that knowledge is misused or unprotected. So respecting customer privacy and baking it into every single moment of the customer experience is absolutely non-negotiable for long-term success.
The sources refer to this as the two sides of the coin.
They do. One side is Customer Identity and Access Management, CIAM. This system has to uniquely identify the customer and maintain that single identity across all your connected systems, CRM, marketing, commerce, ERP, to give them relevant access, ensure a continuous experience, and prevent fraud. The CIM system provides the unique trusted key.
And the second side of that coin is customer consent, managing the permissions.
Consent is tightly locked with CIM and the entire tech stack. You have to respect legal data regulations, of course, but it's equally important to respect the explicit preferences and consent of the customer themselves to ensure a better experience. For example, your consent management has to track that a customer opted out of email marketing even if they opted into text message service updates. That's how the contextual profile knows not to send that promotion email we talked about earlier.
Because it's relying on the tight integration of the service CRM system reporting the issue and the consent management system reporting their preference.
And the CDP is managing both.
That architectural breakdown gives us a crystal clear picture of the CDP's functional power. But let's bring it back to the business. What is the actual measurable outcome of achieving this synergy between the historical, process-focused CRM and the modern, intelligence-focused CDP?
Well, the integration focuses on dramatically increasing 3 key metrics, which really represent the ultimate business outcome goals. First, high revenue growth. Second, high customer lifetime value or CLV. And third, high CRM user delight.
User delight.
Yes, delight for the salespeople, the service agents, and the management who use the system every day. If the tools actually make their jobs easier, they'll use them better, and ultimately the customer wins.
And the sources clearly state that to realize this business value, the CRM systems have to integrate with the CDP based on 3 core functional themes. These are like the bridge between the data and the outcome.
That's right. Those 3 themes must be architected into the flow. Customer Insight 360, intelligent automation, and real-time personalization. When your technology architecture is designed to enable those 3 things, you see massive gains in efficiency, revenue, and CLV simply because the friction points disappear.
Let's use the provided examples to make this synergy really concrete. Show how data moves from a back-office system through the CDP and then back into the CRM to drive a proactive action.
Okay, take the theme of Scenario 1, Customer Insight 360. The CDP is the intelligent engine across all the systems. Imagine a high-value B2B customer. The CDP is constantly absorbing these disparate data points, their financial history from the ERP system, which indicates they've been paying slowly, current stock availability from the supply chain, which shows a crucial component for them is delayed, their loyalty status from marketing, and the salesperson's existing sales pipeline data from the CRM.
So it's taking all these separate dots and connecting them instantly, looking for predictive patterns.
Exactly. It combines this comprehensive context and applies predictive algorithms to anticipate risk or opportunity. For example, the CDP recognizes the customer is high value, they have a large opportunity pending, but their latest component delivery is late and they haven't paid their last invoice.
That's a bad combination.
A very bad combination. So the CDP uses this context to predict the need for a special outbound service call to proactively address the delayed shipment before the customer has to call in angry. This prevents a potential pipeline loss and preserves the relationship.
That's the intelligence layer. Now show me how that insight leads to immediate action in Scenario 2, intelligent automation.
So following that insight, the CDP doesn't just display a warning on a dashboard. It automatically executes the next steps across systems based on predefined playbooks. Since the predictive score indicated high risk, the CDP will auto-create the necessary follow-up task for the assigned service agent in the service platform, call Customer X regarding shipment delay. And at the same time, it creates a high-priority follow-up task for the associated sales agent in the sales platform, instructing them, do not initiate a new sales pitch until this service follow-up is closed.
So the agent doesn't have to manually chase down information or create tasks. The system orchestrates the whole cross-system response.
Yeah.
And that dramatically increases that CRM user delight metric you mentioned because the tools are actually helping them succeed.
Right. It eliminates that swivel chair friction and ensures consistency. And then finally, you have Scenario 3. Real-time personalization. This happens at the customer interface, utilizing all that current context.
So when that same B2B customer who just got that proactive service call later visits the digital portal, how does the CDP ensure personalization?
It uses their current journey phase and all that contextual data, which now includes the fact that the recent service interaction was positive, and they are currently browsing a related spare part to auto-personalize the next best content or the right upsell offer. It drives smart, contextual experiences across the whole lifecycle, making sure the message is relevant and welcome, not intrusive.
It might even use the AI engine to offer a specific discount on preventative maintenance packages.
Because the service issue has just been resolved. You're capitalizing on that moment of gratitude. It's incredibly powerful.
And the power of the CDP is its versatility. The sources provide these architectural rings, showing the CDP's centrality across different industries. Let's highlight a few to show how adaptable this blueprint really is.
For sure. In the utilities industry, customer interaction is often pretty infrequent. It's centered on billing, account management, maybe service disruptions. The CDP sits right in the middle between residential and commercial consumers and the operational systems.
So it connects what? Smart meter readings?
Exactly. It connects things like smart meter readings, preventative maintenance schedules, and contract management to the omnichannel marketing and CRM systems. The CDP is critical here because it uses that low-frequency data, like a meter reading, to predict high-impact events, like a potential service outage, allowing for proactive communication instead of reactive apologies.
Okay, now let's take the retail industry. Here, interactions are high frequency across tons of channels. The challenge is synthesizing physical and digital behavior.
Right. So here, the CDP connects in-store point of sale, or POS, data and clienteling apps with e-commerce, marketing platforms, and crucially, omni-channel fulfillment systems and the CRM loyalty platforms. It synthesizes digital clickstream behavior with physical purchase history.
So a store associate could know that the customer in front of them abandoned a specific item in their online cart an hour ago.
Immediately, that's the goal.
Well, what about something like the high-tech industry?
There, the architecture is extremely complex. You have B2B and B2C channels. The CDP has to integrate hardware IoT data asset utilization, performance, failure rates with the CRM, commerce, B2B portals for partners, complex channel management systems for deal registration, and often external data aggregator platforms for third-party market data. It's handling both complex physical asset performance and the highly detailed processes of partner channel sales. It's the translator between product data and customer intent.
Okay, we've established the why and the what. Now let's tackle the how. We need to look at the business architecture flow and, critically, the organizational structure that's required to make this synergy actually work in the real world.
So if you visualize the entire enterprise architecture, you have the customer channels on the outside, direct sales, B2B portals, call centers, social media. They're the input layer. They create the events and the behavior that feed data directly into the CDP.
And the CDP is the central brain, the unifying intelligence and activation layer.
Precisely. It ingests, processes, and contextualizes the data, and then it activates the various CRM modules, sales, service, marketing, with those intelligent insights, automated tasks, and real-time personalization rules. And then those activated CRM modules link back seamlessly to the core back-office processes like order-to-cash, manufacturing, supply chain, and finance.
So the operational engine keeps running efficiently, but based on customer-centric intelligence, not internal process demands.
That's the goal.
Let's elaborate on the complexity of that omni-channel data inflow, outflow connected to the CDP.
What specific customer data universes is the CDP designed to handle that a traditional CRM rarely even touches?
The CDP is a massive data aggregator. In marketing, for instance, it has to pull data from advertising and promotional systems, programmatic ad platforms, data management platforms, or DMPs, which often deal with anonymous web data.
And demand-side platforms, DSPs. Right, the engines that purchase ad space. The CDP needs this high-volume, anonymous data to recognize broad patterns and build initial profiles before a customer even identifies themselves. It also needs to understand content engagement history. This is crucial. Data points like SEO performance, how customers interact with marketing content, data from social media communities. This tells you about intent and sentiment.
And we can't forget the edge devices.
Not at all. There is device data, which provides real-time behavior. Cookie data in browsers driving immediate personalization, and increasingly IoT data, both for device usage and customer behavior at the edge.
Like knowing a customer logged into a physical terminal, which gives you location context.
Exactly. And finally, of course, you have all the transactional data that underpins the lead-to-cash process. That's your core CRM systems, your e-commerce cart data, POS data, clienteling, and the foundational ERP data covering finance and supply chain. The CDP synthesizes all of it.
It's clear the technology is highly integrated, touching every corner of the business, which means the organizational structure that was built for the traditional siloed CRM is just. It's completely insufficient for successful CDP rollout. If the technology is unified, the organization has to be unified.
You've hit the nail on the head. The traditional organization is hierarchical. You have the CEO, CFO, CIO, and then heads of sales, service, marketing, all operating largely independently. A CDP strategy cannot succeed in that rigid structure because its mission is inherently cross-functional. It requires shared metrics and shared responsibility for the customer journey.
Therefore, the sources stress that a matrix organizational structure is mandatory. You need a dedicated cross-functional program team that is centered on customer success. What are the mandatory roles on that team?
The structure has to blend functional experts from across the organization, and it starts at the highest level. Mandatory requirement number 1 is the presence of an executive sponsor from the leadership team who champions customer success. This is non-negotiable because only an executive sponsor has the authority and the political capital to break down those entrenched internal silos between sales, marketing, and IT. They fund the project and they enforce the unified vision.
Okay, makes sense. Then you need representation from the business side, the people who actually own the processes.
That's mandatory requirement 2. The nomination of dedicated CRM business experts from each line of business sales, service, marketing, e-commerce to the CDP program team. They bring the functional expertise, the process knowledge, and critically, they help define the use cases that will deliver business value. They are the voice of the end user.
And who manages all that technical complexity we just talked about?
That's mandatory requirement 3. The IT organization must nominate a dedicated integration and technology team and a CDP admin team. The integration team owns the actual data plumbing connecting the ERP, the DMPs, the IoT streams. The CDP admin team manages the platform's operations, ensuring data quality, latency, and system health.
And then there's the optional, but highly recommended component, the intelligence creators.
The inclusion of the data science and analyst team. If an organization has one, they need to work extremely closely with the CDP team. The CDP relies so heavily on their algorithms and analytical capabilities to move that raw data into predictive scores and next best actions. They're the ones who turn the data pipe into a decision engine.
The suggested next steps are very practical. They emphasize that strategy has to come before implementation. The first action is to form this special CRM CDP task force to design the use cases and the desired business outcomes before you even select a platform.
Yeah.
You have to define the business value that breaks the silos first.
Absolutely.
Let's look at a concrete case study provided in the sources, a major industrial machine and software subscription company. They're struggling with renewal rates for high-value customers, not because of product quality, but because of a fundamental disconnect between their service and sales departments.
The reasons they cited for customer unhappiness were just classic silo issues. First, sales reps were totally unaware of serious ongoing service problems, and they just kept pushing aggressive renewal or upsell pitches. It forced the customer to re-educate the salesperson on their current misery.
Awful experience.
Awful. Second, service response times, especially for field service, were delayed because of a lack of visibility into part inventory and the customer's financial status. And third, the whole relationship felt purely transactional. No follow-up happened after machine repair until the next renewal pitch started automatically.
So the customer felt unseen and unheard, leading to falling satisfaction and poor renewals. This is a perfect scenario for CRM CDP synergy because the core systems IoT, service, sales, and ERP were all separate.
A textbook case.
So what does the solution architecture look like when the CDP is introduced here?
The CDP becomes the intelligence layer. It unifies 4 critical, previously disparate data sets: real-time machine IoT breakdown data from the asset itself, the current service case status from the service platform, the sales contracts and pipeline data in the sales platform, and the customer's financial health from the ERP.
And how does that merge translate into those 3 themes of synergy we discussed earlier?
First, it provides contextual Customer 360 insights. The sales rep's CRM dashboard now instantly shows all active service issues, which prevents them from making that disastrous sales call when the customer is waiting for a repair. Instead, the dashboard provides a script. Acknowledge the current case status before proceeding.
Simple but powerful.
Second, it uses intelligent automation to prioritize and cross-check. When a service case opens for a machine owned by a customer who is flagged as high CLV and high pipeline value, the CDP automatically boosts the priority of that service ticket and cross-checks the required part against the supply chain system, alerting the service manager to potential delays immediately.
And critically, it addresses the transactional nature of the relationship.
Yes. It uses intelligent automation to trigger mandatory, personalized post-repair follow-ups automatically. Once the service ticket is closed in the service system, the CDP triggers a task to the service or sales agent to call the customer 48 hours later just to check satisfaction. It's a high-touch engagement driven by automated intelligence.
So this transforms the relationship from reactive and transactional to proactive and engaged. It directly addresses all 3 reasons for customer unhappiness, and it dramatically boosts that crucial CLV metric and the renewal rate. The system literally drives automated CRM activity for service, enriched contract renewal for sales, and contextual Customer 360 for the entire organization, all leading directly to revenue growth and user delight. This has been a really profound deep dive into shifting from merely managing customer transactions to actively orchestrating the customer experience. I think we've firmly established that the future of customer interaction is built not just on the process capabilities of CRM, but on the powerful intelligence engine of the customer data platform augmenting those capabilities.
That synergy really is the key takeaway. It ensures that data is unified, contextualized, and drives real-time personalized action. And this integrated architecture and strategy lead directly to the 3 core business outcomes we identified: high revenue growth, a significant increase in customer lifetime value, and critically, delight for the CRM users who are finally equipped with the foresight and automation they need to do their jobs well.
The sources make it so clear that you have to move beyond those complex, costly custom integrations and the static siloed data views.
Yeah.
You need to move toward a dedicated platform, the CDP, which is specifically designed for continuous, dynamic, real-time data flow. You just cannot bolt this capability onto an old, rigid structure.
And that dynamic flow has to embrace machine learning and AI to transform basic transactional scores into predictive actions. And of course, we can't forget the foundational necessity of respecting customer privacy via integrated identity and consent management. Using that power responsibly is absolutely key to successful long-term relationships and trust.
The entire blueprint we reviewed, from architecture to organization, is designed to place the customer at the center. But the sources repeatedly emphasize that rolling out a successful CDP requires something external to the technology itself. An executive sponsor from leadership to champion customer success and break down those internal walls. So here's my question. If the technology itself is explicitly designed to put the customer at the center of the organization, what does it tell us about the current state of enterprise readiness? That success ultimately hinges not on the software's capability to unify data, but on the ability of organizational leadership to commit to a unified, customer-first structure.
That's a fascinating and a highly practical question. I mean, it suggests that while the CDP provides the blueprint for where the business needs to go, it is the executive's willingness to overcome historical political inertia and, siloed budgeting that determines if the company can actually get there.
So the biggest barrier isn't the data.
The biggest barrier isn't data, it's departmental commitment.
Something for you to mull or explore on your own as you consider your next strategic move. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the mandatory synergy of CRM and CDP.